Hey, how y'all doing out there? Back at you again with another video. This time I just want to take a few minutes to just talk about my LG V series of phones. On the table in front of you, I have to my left, far left, the V10, the LG V10, the LG V20, and the LG V30. All were great devices at their particular time, but they had their issues. But I have to say first, when these phones were released, they were all considered flagship devices. So they were top of the line. Okay? So basically I just want to tell you just real quick, the things I like, the things that I don't like, even though they're older devices, but they were still flagship devices and they sell for dirt cheap at this particular time. Okay? All right. Now, we're going to start off with the LG V10. The LG V10 came with a 5.7-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 1440 by 2560. Came with Gorilla Glass 4. Came with the Snapdragon 808, a 16 megapixel camera on the rear, a 5 megapixel camera on the front, and actually it came with two cameras on the front. One was regular lens, I guess that's telephoto, and one was actually wide angle, which I liked a lot and I used that a lot. This also came with 64 gigs of internal memory, 4 gigs of RAM, expandable memory up to 256 gigs, which I love, and a 3000 milliamp battery that's removable. Now, the thing that I liked about the V10 the most was the way it was built. It was built with stainless steel rails on the side. I know I tested the front of the front of the display many times, slamming it on hard surfaces. Could not crack the screen, could not scratch the screen. I don't know what they made this phone of, but it was built like a tank. That phone literally you did not need a case. Now, of course, I put a case on it anyway because it just gave me a little more grip because the stainless steel rails sometimes were a little slippery. But also, it was kind of cool when you didn't have a case. You could feel the stainless steel, like the coldness of it when you didn't have a case on it. Also, I forgot to mention that the LG V10 also came with an IR blaster, which I love, which I don't know why they took that off their phones as well as Samsung. It's unfortunate. Now, along with this, with the V10, you had that second display up the top there, which you could see my name. You could also get your notifications up there. You can put other apps in there. You can control your media. So that was a cool little thing that LG added to the device at that particular time. So I like that. Okay. Now, I wasn't a big fan of the display. It was okay, but it wasn't even nowhere near as good as Samsung's displays, especially because I believe this phone and the Note 4 came out at the same time. And Samsung has always been killing it with the displays. Now, just real quick, my issues with this phone. Number one issue I had with the phone, it didn't get, well, the battery life was the number one issue I had with this device. The battery life was very, very poor. Even though you could swap out the battery, which was always good and convenient, but it had a very poor battery life. The battery drained very fast, especially when you use the media, like say you watch video or you use the quad DAC, it would drain extremely fast, couldn't even get through a day. So that was very disappointing. The other thing is the screen just didn't get bright enough for me. And the speaker quality was very, very poor. It's a shame that they didn't make it better. Now, I found that the LG G4, one speaker on the back of the device is super, super loud. I mean, louder than all three of these devices on the table, which I just couldn't understand that. Why would you make such a big device in this and put such a poor speaker on it, but make the LG G4 way smaller, but the speaker was crazy loud? All right. All right. Up next, you have the LG V20. Now, I like this device too, when it came out. And it was, as you can see, it's, has a nice size to it. Big 5.7-inch screen too. And it was a nice device. I was hoping LG was getting better, when they, went to the next series. But they changed up the build quality. I don't know why they didn't stick with the way they built the V10 because I really liked it a lot. But this one particular one, they made all stainless steel on the back, so it was just a lot different. Still had a 5.7-inch display, but for now they put a quad HD display on it. IPC still not AMOLED, so it still wasn't up to par to me, but it was a little bit better. It had a resolution of 1440 by 2560. 513 pixels per square inch was impressive, but it like I said, it looked better than the V10, but AMOLED would have made it look better, or either OLED. It came with Gorilla Glass 4, Snapdragon 820, Android 7.0 Nougat. You had the quad-core processor on it. It came with dual rear cameras. Now, this was the first time they actually went to dual cameras on the back of their V series of devices, because the V10 only had one camera on the back, but this one had two. Okay. All right. This one also has the IR blaster, which I liked, which they kept that on this particular device, which is very convenient. This one also came with a wide angle lens on the back. Now, the thing they did different from the LG V10, they took away the two cameras on the front and only put one camera on the front, which I did not like. I don't know why they just didn't keep the two cameras on the front, which would have been cool, because one of them was a wide angle lens. So internal memory, they didn't go up. They stayed at 64. 4 gigs of RAM. You could expand the memory up to 256 gigs, which was cool. All that's good. And then they added USB Type-C, which is better overall. And it came with a 3,200 milliamp battery, which is removable, but no wireless charging. Now, the V20 I liked, but let me show you what my issue was with this phone. Now, as you can see, you had the secondary display up top, which I have my name in there. The display was a little bit better, but the battery life wasn't all that great in this one either. You can still remove it. But my thing is, they had this big dark line down here, as you can see, where they should have brought the screen all the way down. I don't know why they left that empty space there. It just didn't make any sense to me. And up the top, I kind of understand it, because the way they could have implemented, I don't know if you can see, the way they could have implemented the camera a little bit better, where they could have made it a little thinner. They have like a space up there, but they just didn't utilize the screen very well on this device, and I didn't like that. You had one down-facing speaker that didn't sound very good. So, and the thing that the one of the major issues I had with this device also too is that I think the fingerprint sensor lasted 2 weeks and then it just died. And I didn't like the fact that the power button and the fingerprint sensor were one and the same. I didn't like that because it made it a little wiggly. And on the V10 was the same way. But at least the V10's sensor still worked to a degree, but the V20 just stopped working altogether after 2 weeks, which really upset me. Now let's move on to my favorite V phone out of all the V phones that I have here, is the V30, which is the last device right here. Now, the thing that got me so excited about this particular device the most is that LG finally decide to put an OLED display on this thing. And it is absolutely gorgeous. I hope the video is doing it a little justice, but I'm telling you, this is the best display that I've seen on LG's phones, up until this point. From the first two, this was a huge leap forward, and I love it. Now, they did take away the display, the secondary display on this one, but they made it a floating display that you can put on here, and you can use that. But I saw no reason to use that, so I don't have it activated. But this display is absolutely gorgeous. I love this device. Now, they took away the IR blaster, which was unfortunate, which it didn't really make any sense to me. Why would you take away that? but they did. They had it on both these two, and then they took it away on that one, which I totally disagree with. So it's a 6-inch. The V30 has a 6-inch POLED display with a resolution of 1440 by 2880. It has Gorilla Glass 5. Now the thing that they took it to the next level with this one, IP68 dust and water resistant. Basically, this phone could be underwater up to 5 feet for 30 minutes. Now that's impressive. Has a 3300 milliamp battery that's non-removable. This is the phone where they stopped giving you the option of removing the battery, which I did not like. But that's what they did. You cannot remove the battery in the V30. 64 gigs of internal memory, 4 gigs of RAM. Now this one, you could expand the memory up to 1 terabyte. Now that's what I'm talking about right there. I'm the kind of person that needs expandable memory, and I need it to the max. So that's just me. All right. So this one also has a 16 megapixel and a 13 megapixel rear camera. One's is a wide angle lens, which I love that. You can get more in the picture. It's HDR compliant. It has one 5 megapixel front facing camera with also face unlock. Comes with the Snapdragon 835. Now I'm gonna tell you, even though this phone has an 835 Snapdragon chipset, I'm telling you right now, this phone is extremely fast and very, very smooth. I have had no lag whatsoever. Now, unfortunately, these two, lag city. major lag, and just lag city. So these not good. Not on a regular basis. You would get very annoyed. I mean, unless something like that doesn't bother you. But this one here, no lag whatsoever. 0. Love that. You have a fingerprint sensor on the rear on this one. Have had no issues with it. It works pretty fast and fluid, as long as you get your finger on there properly. Like I said before, that's facial unlock, has Bluetooth 5.0. All three, and I forgot to mention this, all three have headphone jacks. And the reason for that is the LG V series of phones come with a quad DAC built inside. So you get superior sound when you're listening to your audio, and you listen to your music or videos or whatever. You're going to get superior audio sound because of that quad DAC. Now, in my opinion, that's something Samsung is missing from the Note and the their S series Illinois Lines phone, especially with the fact that they're charging over $1,000 for those devices. They should have a quad DAC in them, and they should not have removed the headphone jack out of the Note 10 Plus or the Note 10. It's ridiculous. Why would you have it in the S10 series and not have it in the Note 10? It makes no sense to me. Okay, it just makes no sense. All right. The one thing that this device, the V30, has over the other two, and it's about to pop up. Sorry about the long delay, but what I was basically trying to show, and it's just not showing it yet, but this also has always on display, which they didn't have on the first two. And I love that about this. But clearly Samsung makes the best always on display, but LG is right behind them. You know, for some reason it's not popping up now. There's nothing wrong with it, but I guess it's the way I turn the device off. It's not popping up at the moment, but if it does, I'll definitely show it to you. But I love the fact that it has always on display. You can see the time, you can see the date, you can see the battery percentage, all those things. Now there it goes. It took a minute. Here you go. Always on display. You got your notifications all the way up at the top. You got your battery percentage, you got your time, and you got your date. I love that. Okay. That's something that these other two devices were lacking. And you get so used to having always on display, like now I can't live without one. So I love that. It also comes with Android 8.0, which unfortunately there's no further updates for this device because it's a few years old. And LG only pushed their devices up to 2 years, as well as Samsung, which I think also is very unfortunate. You know, I don't understand. You're gonna charge people $800, $900, $1,000 for a device, a flagship device, and you're only gonna give people 2 years of updates when iPhone is giving their customers 5 years of updates. So, you know, even though I'm not an Apple fan, I can't really hate on Apple because at least they support their phones for a lot longer. And I believe without a doubt that's the reason why they keep so many customers, and also that they sell so many phones. I mean, and their phones don't lose value. Their phones hold value over Android. Now, with the LG V10, you can get this for less than $100. For the V20, a little over 100. And right now for the V30, now this is the best V series device that I have from them. $150. Now I'm telling you, this phone is definitely a steal at that price. When this phone was released, this phone was anywhere between $800 and $900. So it was very expensive. But now in just 2 years, it's $150. So you can get a quality flagship top of the line device that works fine, no problems. The only thing that you're not getting is the latest Android updates. Other than that, you're good to go. This phone works great. The cameras are great. The battery life is great. The always on display is great. The display is great. You know, I think the only other issue I have, like I said, is the one down facing speaker. They should have put dual speakers on this device, but they didn't. But that's pretty much it. The phone is great. I'm not giving this phone up. I mean, I keep these, you know, just for history's sake. And, you know, there's things about these that I do like. But this is clearly by far the best LG V series device that they made at that particular time. And the thing I like about this, even more so, excuse me, than the newer V series of phones, and I'm gonna show you real quick. Look up at the top there. No notch. I cannot stand devices that has notches. No notch. I don't know why LG felt like they had to put some stupid notch on their device when they don't have to. They had Face Unlock on this device without a notch. Okay. Down at the bottom, very thin bezel, even though I don't know if you can really see it, but it's another thin bezel down at the bottom. Watching movie content on this phone is great. It looks really, really, really good. So I have no issues with this phone except that it doesn't have dual speakers. That's pretty much it. I have no issues with the software, even though I put Nova Launcher on this, but I have no issues with the software. I have no issues with the hardware. It's not a heavy phone. The build quality on it is excellent. The fingerprint sensor works good. The Face Unlock is pretty fast if it spots you and all that. So like I said, I have no issues with this device whatsoever. I really don't. It's just it gets very, very bright, and the display is just absolutely gorgeous and phenomenal. Unfortunately, they took the IR blaster off, which they shouldn't have done, but it is what it is. But once again, that's just my quick take on my first 3 V series of phones from LG. I enjoyed all of them. You know, there's things that I liked about all 3 of them and things I didn't like. But overall, the V30 here is the best out of the 3 by far, not even close. Well, I want to say thank you again to my subscribers for supporting me, watching my videos. Please give a like and leave your comment down below if you like to. We can wrap down there. Please like and share this video. For those that are watching for the first time, please consider subscribing. I try to do a video at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and I also do biblical videos as well. But y'all take care until next time. Peace.